Welcome to Visual Asset News. My name is Rob, and today, just like the thumbnail and title suggest, I think that the markets, and to a lesser extent, some of us, are pretty irrational. And what I'm talking about is the Fear and Greed Index. And let's just jump right into it. Because when I take a look at this, I just think to myself, like, have you ever taken a look at the Fear and Greed Index? Like, really looked at it, not like the day-to-day stuff, but just like taking a look and said, how is this looking at over time? And of course, we can take a look, and there's different places you can find this. You can find it anywhere, actually. But of course, there's another good one. Look into Bitcoin.com. I'm using Ben's website just because it looks nicer, actually. And what I'm talking about today, and the things to control are emotions, because everybody's smart enough to invest. Everybody's smart enough to figure out, hey, maybe I should sell at some point. Maybe I should buy at some point. Maybe I should dump this. Maybe I should add on to this. Everybody's smart enough to do it. It's all about emotions and emotionality and the things that are going on. And what I'm talking about here is, let me zoom in here. So this Fear and Greed Index, first of all, today, which is, what is today? The 7th of January, 2023. The Fear and Greed Index is 25. And if you don't know, if you can just take a look at it on a continuum, anything below 25 and below, is it called extreme fear, quote unquote, right? And then, of course, in this area is a little bit of fear, neutral, greed, and then extreme greed. So over here, anything in this red area, or as we see over here in this orange area, would just be called fear, roughly just a little bit above extreme fear. And right now it's at 25, so it's teetering. But I want you to notice something. And that is that the price is almost $17,000. Yet we're super fearful, which is kind of odd, because if you take a look over here in 2020, you can see the price of Bitcoin was $10,000. And we were a little bit above that. As far as Fear and Greed Index, we're in the 39 range. So a little bit higher. But then if you see right here, let me zoom in. It's funny because now we're at the price, well, we're below the price where we are now. And we're at a greed stage as of 5th November, 2020. And if you just take a look at it, you can see that the greed just kind of gets to us. And we oscillate between greed and extreme greed. And look at the prices. It's just like, well, I mean, that's just what it is, because of course, this part makes sense to me. This part makes sense. I think it should make sense to you too, because I mean, we were down the dumps here. The price is 11,000. So of course, if it jumps up to 15,000, in not a lot of time, you're probably like, probably go up forever. And that's what everybody thinks. I think that too. I just had to slap myself in the face and go, that's not going to happen again, because it's not going to keep going up forever, genius. That's really what happens. But as we come through here, we just take a look at extreme greed, extreme greed. And it just kind of goes up and up and up and up and up and up as the price goes up. So now we're at 40,000, January 2021. But I want you to notice something. Just a little dip in price, 38,000, 30,000. It's a little bit more. You get down to this fear stage. You're like, oh my gosh, this is it. We're going to capitulate. We're going to keep going down forever. And then of course, 32,999 to 33,500. You go right back up to greed. And then of course, the problem is with greed and fear is that you think it'll never go down. And of course, it goes up. And then of course, it comes here. Look at this price. 55,000, 40, around 50,000 as well. And you go from extreme greed to fear. So if you ever want to take a look at the psychological aspect of trading, this is it. There, like during this time, I guarantee you 100% that we didn't have a double spend for Bitcoin. There was no hack on the blockchain. There was nobody unmasked Satoshi Nakamoto. None of that stuff happened. It had nothing to do with anything. It's just because people are irrational. Markets are irrational. And of course, we come here. So the real thing it comes down to is this, is that when I had never taken a look at the Fear and Greed Index and really just, really honed in on the numbers and just how, and I was just shocked to think to myself, this is how people act. Now, this is not how everybody acts, right? There's some people call it smart money. I don't think it's smart money. I think it's just big money. Big money's out there. They're not that smart. They're not smarter than you. I guarantee that. Maybe in some things, I don't know. But they're still doing these things. They're like, oh, this is just the normal way of things. And all they got to do is just temper temper my emotions, and I'll be okay. Again, look at this: extreme fear or extreme greed. And this is the thing. Once you get up here, the thing that screws everybody up is that they're like, oh, it'll never go down. It'll never go down. That's what everybody does. You have to, not a financial advice, but when you take a look at this, it's time to go against the grain. And then I come over here and I'm like, this is in 16th of May, 2022. The price is 30,000. What the heck happened from here to here? Well, it's because we went all the way up here and then came all the way down here. But it had nothing to do with anything. It had nothing to do with any fundamentals. Again, nothing had changed. And again, just when you're thinking to yourself about, should I sell or should I buy? When you take a look at these things, you'll know that the emotion is what is going to screw everything up. So here's my I can't even call it advice. This is just what I'm doing. And you can implement this into what you want to try to do with your investment strategy or move things around. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, not your dad. I don't have any sway over you whatsoever. Holy smokes, one mullet's here. I can't believe it. Well, now I'm really happy. Okay, so back to the show. There is a link in the description, and there's a couple ways you can play it. So under strategies, there's 5% degen plays. That's if you're just a degenerate gambler. The next one is all crypto exits. This is the old one. And you can take a look, and there's even a video I did on how I was going to structure myself for the last bull run in 2021. I made that video in 2020. And it's great because when you do these plans and you plan it out for yourself, you don't have to deal with the emotion and the nonsense that is going on with all of this over here. That you just take it out of the equation. You go, okay, I'm going to stick to it. Now I'm going to warn you that you're going to think you're smarter than everybody. And I did the same thing. And I didn't stick to my plan. If I would have stuck to my plan, I would have been made out like a bandit. And this was just me guessing. This was just me guessing. Essentially, while using fractals and taking a look at price appreciation over time. And this is what I did. You can find the video. But the next evolution will be this. There's a link in the description. I don't know if you heard of this website. It's called Dan Teaches Crypto. It's 100% free. It's always free. And in one of those videos, I said when and why I'm selling 80% of all my crypto. And what I'm looking at is these cycle top callers and cycle bottom callers, using a little bit more technical. I don't want to say technical analysis, but analysis nonetheless. Pi cycle tops, NUPL, time and risk bands, MVRV Z-score, TRMA, POEL multiple, and reserve risk. And when I take a look at these, I'm not going to time the top or the bottom, but it doesn't matter. I just want to get to 80%. That's what I'm doing. You're welcome to look into that. And that is it. So that is all for this piece. And I'm going to get into some couple of quick stories, but that's the big thing. Like, you're all smart enough to figure this out. It's not rocket science. It just comes down to, can you handle the emotion that goes along with it? And it's tough, especially right now. And you're going to get bored because it's boring. But I think over time we'll be rewarded. Anyhow, let me just think about that in the comments section. And then just real quick, I thought it was interesting that BlackRock, and they've got like 10 trillion assets under management, 10 trillion. And they just made Bitcoin eligible. Don't get excited because it's a nice story. It's cute, it's adorable, but not that big. So BlackRock adding Bitcoin as an eligible investment to its flagship global allocation fund, one of the most preferred vehicles for ordinary and passive investors. That's me. Company filing shows the move enables BlackRock to allocate part of the fund's $15 billion to cash-settled Bitcoin futures traded on CFTC, Commodity Exchange registered with the CFTC. Boring, but that's what it is. I mean, BlackRock's a pretty big deal, and I'm glad for them they're getting into it, just like Fidelity and the other old-style investment vehicles. And I took a look at BlackRock, the Global Allocation Fund, just to be sure. The key facts here, the size of the fund, it actually said it's 18,457. That's in millions. So correct me if I'm wrong here. Math's not my strong point. So if this is in millions, we take away the 18, so that'd be 457 million. If we add an 8, that'd be 8,457 million. And if we add an 18, that'd be 18,457 million. That's the size of the fund, apparently. So I don't know where they got 15 billion, but whatever. So that's good news. I think that'll, be great to, buoy somebody's expectations. And then also, lastly, I just want to preface it with the Bitcoin's, I think, will do well in the bear market, usually does. But of course, past performance is not indicative of future results. But pay attention to the protocols, the platforms that are building in the bear market, because they are going to crush it in the bull. So this is an old story. I know this is an old story. It's like 2 days old. Don't tell me in the comments. I got you. Polygon paid top Solana projects, Utes, I guess, and DeGods $3 million to migrate chain. So what Polygon then was like, hey, do you want to get off Solana? Want to jump ship? Here's $3 million. And they did it. And I didn't really think too much of it. And it was verified by project leader Rohan Vora, known as Frank. Okay. And he said, yeah, that's what happened. So great. I didn't really think too much of the story. I'm like, oh, that's a jerk move. But in all honesty, it's inevitable. Powerful chains will say, we're going to pick you up. We're going to pick you up. We're going to absorb you. We're going to absorb you. The people that have the money, that have the clout and the power to do these things are going to be the big winners. And what I'm talking about here is it's the same thing that happens with all the tech companies. Look at Facebook. We talked about this before. Facebook, granted, Polygon could create these NFTs and Facebook could create all these companies, but why would they do that? They're just like, we're just going to absorb you, your developers, your community, and you're going to work for us, and we're going to pay you a bunch of money. And they said, sure. And in 2005, when Facebook was not that big, but they were spending 100 million, then 750 million, then 15 billion, so on and so forth. You think they couldn't make these platforms? Like, they could have easily made Instagram. I can tell you that right now. Caffeinated Mind, file transfer service, Acrylic, Threadsy. Anyhow, you can just see this, just how much they spend, 520 billion, 410 billion, so on and so forth. So when I see these stories, I'm like, oh, that's how it's going to go. They're just going to absorb everybody, and they're going to make a big run for it. So again, pay attention to these projects. Also, World Mobile Token. They sent out a tweet and they said, hey, just so you know, we're in the top 300 as far as coin market cap, which I was like, that's pretty cool. And just so everybody's 100% clear, I'm super biased on this channel. I don't talk about anything I don't own. I don't see the point of it. So let's not be disillusioned to think that Rob is altruistic and talk about things that he owns. Everything I talk about, I own, especially World Mobile Token and Polygon. Now, I talked about Bonk a couple of days ago. I don't own that, but just a fun story. But World Mobile Token, that's good that the price action is doing it. I don't really care so much about the price action. I'm just like, what are you guys doing? And of course, here's the network map. There's a website, wmtscan.com. You can take a look at it. And of course, this is all about connecting the unconnected, not banking the unbanked, connecting the unconnected, telecommunications and internet service, different parts of the world, mostly Africa. And you can see the total network consumption. I've seen this number go up from under a terabyte to now almost 2.25 terabytes. More people are using it, built on Cardano. I think more people will use it as time goes on, especially in Africa, especially the things you hear about. So that's it. That's it for today in the stories. There's one more thing. Then we'll get into Q&A. So just so you know that the Sweatcoin, again, a project that I own, they're still doing that Sweatcoin challenge. And of course, 1 through 30, first place gets all this cool stuff. Second place gets this cool stuff. Third place, fourth, fifth, 6 through 10, 11 through 20, 21st through 30th gets at least get something. Anyhow, just to make sure that you're on the list, because you can download the app, which I put up here under click here for Android or click here for iPhone. But some people are like, but Rob, I'm already signed up. And I did not forget about you. So just to make sure that you're on this list, first of all, you can click on this one. And the next part is here. Don't see your name above. Click here to be out of the competition. Where would you find that link? Great question. It's right here. Sweatcoin January 2023 Challenge. It's on this website. Dan Teaches Crypto. And I'm just giving away a bunch of stuff. I want you guys to get in shape by walking. And I want to incentivize you by giving you a boatload of stuff. So let's do this. And that's it. Again, if you're not on there, just make sure, just click it here. You can check. Let me see how many we have so far. All right. Lance just walking is still crushing it. Oh, this spreadsheet gets updated every 3 days. So this is a little bit old, but we got 141 people so far. All right. And that's it. So look, if you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now let's get into my favorite part, which is the Q&A. So let's jump into it, shall we? All right. Yes, my green screen is broke. There's no water in this dynamic pool background that I have. There's a leak in my green screen. So yeah. Hey, Bill Bones. Diesel Kane.